Hello and welcome, and thank you all so much for being here. So, this is a collective reading for the Sadness Diaries series, and I am going to be looking at the current energies for the collective mental health situation. Okay, so overall, the energies that I am getting here with Judgment at the bottom of the deck is there is a lot of emotional renewal that needs to be called into action, the energy of conscious choice making, and the need for an awakening and a reckoning. Okay, so precisely more so, where is this awakening and reckoning needed? We can look here at the core energies, which is the High Priestess and the Ace of Cups. Okay, so the High Priestess, it's about a call to turn inward. Okay, the reckoning and the awakening has to take place within. There is nothing outside of you or outside of us that can bring about a change. And we have to understand that. That is what we need to be aware of. Ultimately, it comes from within, and these are conscious decisions that we have to be aware of, right? Whether this is a simple change, such as in, changing your belief systems, perhaps changing your surroundings, your environment. It could even be something about, if you take medication, it could be something about changes to the medication or the way that medication is used in general in mental health. Okay, so there is something here about a reckoning that needs to be brought into account, trusting your intuition, knowing your body, your needs, right? Like recognizing the little subtle changes, right? Based on whatever new environments, new changes, new medications, new diets, new lifestyle activities, whatever it is, like recognizing those changes at an intuitive level and being familiar with how you are going to address these changes or how you're going to react to these changes, right? And because you're familiar with this, because you're aware, you'll have more control, more dominance over how you react to these changes, right? Changes in friendships, changes in romantic status, changes in your health, right? Changes in your spiritual life. All of these things take a toll, right? On a personal level, like in the inner world level. And there is a need to recognize this, okay? And this requires full awareness of what is going on within. And stop focusing so much on what is going on outside. Okay, there is also something here about things that are left unspoken. Okay, perhaps there is a need to learn how to get your point across in a more gentle, loving. In the inner world, there is a desire for a more gentle approach to things, whether it's you delivering the content or the content that is being delivered to you. Okay, because we do have cards here of exhaustion, burnout, and defeat. All of these things could absolutely be contributing to these feelings or these effects that come with the mental health situation, right? There is a need here with the Sun and the Ten of Swords. So this is the weight that is being carried, okay? There is like a desire for like renewed energy or renewed vigor, right? So there could be something here about your energy, right? Feeling tired all the time, feeling depleted, feeling burnt out, right? And allowing yourself to recognize that, right? Like so many times me personally have felt burnt out, and I'm like a workaholic, right? So I'm like, I feel like I always have to be doing something. If I'm not doing something, I can turn into a very harsh critic of myself. But then I'm like, okay, you need to stop. You need a nap. You need to just stop and do something else, watch a movie. Don't be so hard on yourself for wanting to do these things, right? And this will renew your energy, allowing yourself to rest, allowing yourself to step away from those things that you're always doing, right? Because burnout is very serious. And, sometimes all it takes is a good nap, a good meal, and a good hug to get out of whatever mental stress you're in, right? But there is a lack here of understanding from the world in general, because especially like present themselves as well put together, as very accomplished, or perhaps they have a heavy load that they're carrying because they have a lot of responsibility. They have that need that they feel like they have to perform, that if they're not performing, then they're not meeting the expectations, right? They're failing their regular patterns of activity. But in reality, all that is needed, this is my limit. I can't no more. Whatever I was doing, I'm going to stop it there. That series has ended, and I'm going to do some soul searching right here with the High Priestess and the Judgment, like I was talking about, the reckoning that is needed, right? And that reckoning happens when we actually stop and allow ourselves to rest, right? So there is no need to do anything. And, there is a need to just allow. This is something that I really I've come to accept as a thought system, and it's easier said than done. The thought is just allow. The way of the Tao is that, they don't put in a lot of effort. Like, they don't stress themselves over getting something done. It's just like, if it's, look, I'm going to try if it happens. Or it's just like, just allow if it comes, and that's the way that it is. There is no need to stress, right? Especially with this energy of the mental health collective with the 10 of Wands here and the 8 of Wands. This represents the momentum and the choice. This is what is driving this energy. And then what is driving that energy is that need to always be doing something, that workaholicness, that feeling that, I need to get more, I need more, or I just need to do this, I need to do that. The energy that is not spent or invested the way that it should be, right? And why I say that is because of the 7 of Pentacles being here. Sometimes we feel like we have to do something or that something is missing, right? And that's anxiety, right? It could be something as simple as preparing a meal, and knowing that our ancestors, they had that need to, if I don't go out and hunt my food, then I'm going to starve. And, the hunt was not easy because not every hunt was successful. So, there is a need to weigh the option of what it is that you're pursuing, right? This feeling of needing to get something done, like, is it worth it? And then also about where you direct your energy. With the sun here, I see there could be also a need to incorporate more physical fitness into daily living. Okay, physical fitness does not get enough merit, in my opinion, particular for mental health. Okay, from what I know is that, like, healthy exercise has been shown to be the #1 anti-aging remedy, and then diet. Okay, but exercise should be like, it should be like a daily thing, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It doesn't have to be anything hectic. Like, it could be something as simple as going for walks, and engaging maybe in like a counting your steps challenge, and committing to it. Because that's the other thing. Like, there is that energy here of committing yourself to something where, perhaps you're committed to something that is draining your energy, and it's time to switch it up. Which is, like I was saying, something about like the new things that are entering your life. What is it that makes your environment and makes your life experience that then makes the workings of your mind, right? And here we have that energy with the Lovers, which is the choices, right? Like, we all have a choice. We have the choice of either, and I'm going to use this as an example, right? Like going for walks. You have the choice to sit and, do your usual, perhaps, binge television because you're tired and that's the way you relax, or you have the option of going for a walk, right? And now it's like with like the convenience of like technology, we have our telephones. So if there is like a series that you watch, like, let's say it's a ritual, like when you get home from work, your ritual is probably like sit down, watch the series, and then have dinner, prepare for bed, and good night. Well, now you can actually go for a walk and still watch your series. And just a little tiny change like that could make a big difference in your mental health. Because sometimes, we feel like depressed, we feel anxious because we need something new. Our spirit is craving something new, right? Because we're always looking for something new. We're always looking to learn something new, because that's the thing about our species, our human species, right? We have a capacity for intelligence, for learning. And, if we're not doing that, then, there could be states of alarm that are going off and like, hey, I need something new. I need a new stimulus. I need something exciting. Like, I already know this, give me something new to do is what the mind is asking. And it can be the same thing, but it's just you're doing it in a different way. If that's what I'm saying. It doesn't mean that you have to go out and, spend money and get new things and redecorate everything that, just like rearranging your furniture that you already own is good enough, right? And if you really want to get into it, you could look into like, the feng shui, into how you arrange your home, the direction that you're sleeping, how you position your pillow. All of these things really do make a difference, and they sound like simple nuisances, but they make a difference. Okay, the type of shoes you're wearing, like, if they're not comfortable for your feet, like being aware of that. And that's where I started the reading, with paying attention to what is going on with you. I remember like a while back, I had a situation where I had like I was suffering from like some neck pain, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. And, I came to find out when I switched to my pillow, the neck pain went away completely. And it's something as simple as that. It's like something could be pinching on a nerve, something, maybe that you used to eat before, and, before it was always okay, but now it's like things have changed and now you can't eat it no more, or maybe because of the season. So that's why it's very important to pay attention to your body and start looking for the outside things, right? Instead, observe your inner world and see what is going on in here. Listen to your intuition, will most likely tell you what it is that needs to be done, right? And that's the energy here with the High Priestess. But with the Judgment card here, what I also get is about like renewal, right? And where the renewal comes from is from having something to look forward to, having something to hope for, right? And again, with the changes, you know, perhaps you had hopes when you were younger, and then those hopes changed when you went into adolescence, and they'll always change. But the important thing is to always have something to hope for and keep the hopeful outlook. You know, it's like we live in a world where sometimes it could feel that we're being judged because we are hopeful for things that perhaps others may see as fantasies or fairy tales. But this is the thing, hope is a personal thing. Nobody needs to know what it is that you're hoping for. Nobody needs to approve of what you're hoping for. And nobody needs to validate what you're hoping for. And, you know, your hope is personal. That is something that you should keep your focus on. And then again, you know, listen to your intuition and understand, try to get in line with this thing that you're hoping for. There are this card kind of like brings me back to the Seven of Pentacles energy, because there's like 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5 6, well 6, and then 7 up there, or 7 with the bird. But you know, it is an energy of like the work that you do, the things that you're trying to accomplish. Those are the things that you hope for, whether it's in the material life or in the spiritual life, right? Those things are dual in nature, right? So yes, you should always have something to hope for. And that is where I'm going to leave this reading at. And again, you know, remember that it all comes down to you, and hopefully you find what works for you, because what works for others may not necessarily work for you. And I'll give you one example before I leave. Like, I know from personal experience, right, with particularly because we're talking about mental health, right? People always say like, oh, you know, medication or psychiatrists, because that's what psychiatrists do. They prescribe you the medicines you need and find the right medicine. But medicine doesn't work for everyone. And, you know, sometimes we feel so pressured into thinking that, oh, well, you know, I have to take this medicine because this is what everyone believes in, or this is what everyone says is going to help. But in reality, some people do not benefit from medication. It could actually be damaging to them because because of the way that their body is built, their physiology is built. And then for some people, yes, medication works. It works wonders. They are able to live and wonderful, you know, but everyone is different. So the thing is, keep the hope. Do not give up hope. If you're really trying to find that thing that is going to make the difference in your mental health, your spiritual health, you cannot give up hope. Okay, so I'm ending that there, and thank you again so much for being here, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.